defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
Another case so many have been watching closely, Karen Read acquitted in her second murder trial outside Boston. The not guilty verdict, as it was read, you could hear the huge crowd of supporters outside reacting, screaming, cheering. Read was accused of hitting police officer John O'Keefe, her boyfriend, with a car and leaving him to die in the snow. She was found guilty of drunk driving and received 1-year probation for that. Her supporters erupted, though, when they heard that verdict, and again, when Read walked out of court.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team.
Read's supporters, as you could see there, many dressed in pink, showed up outside court every day of this trial, as well as the last day, which ended in a mistrial. The defense argued O'Keefe was beaten up at a late-night house party hosted by a fellow police officer. Read's attorneys claimed that she was framed by corrupt cops trying to protect their own. Joining us now is Ron Chapman, federal defense attorney. Good morning to you. Thanks for your time. Did this verdict surprise you as you watched the case?
No, not at all. I mean, I heard Alan Jackson's wonderful closing argument. I was convinced all the way. I didn't think the prosecution here had enough to get a conviction. And I also think some of the conduct of the officers is very suspect here, and there may be further action related to that. But no, not a surprise to me. I knew this would be the eventual outcome of the case.
Read still faces a civil lawsuit from the O'Keefe family. How does this at all impact that next case that she'll face?
Well, it's a different burden of proof in a civil lawsuit. So here, beyond a reasonable doubt is what you have to prove in a criminal context. But a civil lawsuit, it's just a preponderance. It's 51% or more likely that this happened. I still don't think there's enough, and particularly because the public sentiment here is that she's not guilty. And I think it's going to be difficult, even under a different standard, to really put the pieces together to show that she committed this offense. A lot of the evidence is on shaky ground and not likely to make a civil case.
The claim of police misconduct, what in your mind, as you listen to this, all of the evidence and the case play out, was the prosecution most lacking or that pointed to misconduct among those who were at the party that night?
Yeah, I'm reminded here a bit of the O.J. Simpson case as well as the Rittenhouse case, where we have prosecutors and police officers who want so badly to convict, especially on this second go-around. They want so badly to convict that they're going to manipulate the evidence in a way that favors them. We saw that with the Google search that was testified about. It's sort of a different timing. The statement of a paramedic who was on the scene changed at trial. We, of course, have Proctor and these salacious text messages that were sent. The reality is, just like with Mark Furman in the O.J. Simpson case, when you show that police are not acting as police, but are acting with a motive or bias, it is very difficult to get a jury to believe that evidence and ultimately convict somebody beyond a reasonable doubt.
Ron, how critical a role will Karen Read now play in trying to find out and determine what did happen that night and who is responsible?
Well, you know, that's difficult because she's not going to want to make too many statements. I will say one of the keys to victory in this case is the fact that she had a public facing appearance and was able to speak and establish a relationship with the public. But I think now it's time for her to sit back and hopefully allow the police to do the right investigation this time, perhaps with some sort of outside entity. And in fact, that's what I would like to see here. I would like to see state authorities or perhaps even federal authorities look into why this department investigated it this way and get into the truth of this man's death, because ultimately that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, Karen Read not guilty, but someone is and someone will be held accountable. At least that's what the O'Keefe family is hoping for. Ron Chapman, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you.